Hey guys, it's Lauren, and it has been a hot minute. It's been like a year. I was never really planning on starting videos up again, but I decided that I wanted to document this journey that I'm going through right now to help me to look back on when all of this is over, and also help other people that are going through the same thing that I am, because I've watched so many videos so far and it has helped me a lot. So that's what I want to do. I kind of just want to tell my story and how I found out about this and the symptoms that I had and everything, just to spread awareness. So with that being said, on August 23rd, 2019, I was diagnosed with cancer, or primary mediastinal large B-cell lymphoma to be exact. I'm just going to tell a story on my symptoms that I had prior to my diagnosis and kind of where I've been so far with this and what I've gone through so far. So going all the way back to May, I had just graduated high school and we were going into the summer, and I had been really involved in church, just joining the worship team and being involved in student leadership and just volunteering whenever I could. I really just loved going to church, volunteering, being on the worship team, doing all that. And our church hosts these foster camps at the ranch over the month of June. That's what they're busy doing. And I was going to help out with those camps this summer. So we had done that. It was so life-changing. I loved ministering and just volunteering for those kids, pouring into them. Summer was off to a really, really good start. And after all those foster camps, I had developed this cough, and it was really weird because it was a cough, but like nothing else was wrong with me. I had just had a dry cough that lingered for like 2 months, and I never got sick, never got a cold, nothing. It was just a weird cough. Took some cough medicine, did a couple breathing treatments, and it was gone. And then a couple days after my cough had gotten better, I started to get this pain in my left side, and I just thought that it was because I had been coughing really hard for like a long period of time. I told my mom about it. She thought the same thing. So I was just taking ibuprofen and doing like the heating pad 2 times a day, and that also went away. So we thought nothing of it again. And then a couple days after my side pain stopped, I noticed a lump under my armpit, which is kind of a weird spot to have a lump, I guess, but I don't know. I was like doing my hair, fixing my hair or something, and I looked and I was like, what the heck is that? And I have pictures of it. I'll put them on the screen somewhere of what it looked like. Along with the lump, I also noticed that the veins in my chest, like right here, only on the left side. On the right side, it's fine. But on the left side, there was just a bunch of like, the doctor term for it is venous congestion. There was just a bunch of veins popping out of my arm. And when I would be in the shower at night, washing my hair, washing my face, like using my left arm a lot, it would just feel like it was falling asleep or something, and it would get really blue and purple and swollen, and I'd have to like take a break or like elevate it or something. And I thought that was really weird too. I couldn't really find an explanation as to why that was happening. There was just no good explanation for all of these symptoms I was having. So I got really worried about it, got really upset about it. I was like, what is going on with me? That night I had found the lump, and so the next day I told my dad, I was like, hey, I have a lump underneath my armpit. Is that normal? And he was like, no, it's not. So he texted my mom. He was like, she needs to go to the doctor today. So we went to my pediatrician. The nurses like took 4 vials of blood to get tested, and then a couple days later I went back. The real doctor came in and saw me, and she was just checking my heart or whatever, and she was like, I hear a murmur, and I've never heard a murmur on her before. And then she said, I'm gonna go make some phone calls, I'll be right back. So there was a heart murmur, and I've never had one in my whole life. So she had made phone calls for me to go over to Children's and get an EKG and an echo on my heart. My mom went and picked my brother up from school. We went to Children's, had my EKG and my echo done, and the cardiologist came back in and was like, her heart is normal, but it looks like there's something else there, and I can't see it with my machine. So I'm gonna refer y'all over to the emergency room. So we went from there to the emergency room where I got an x-ray and a CT scan, and both of those basically confirmed that there was a mass in my chest. And by the end of the afternoon, the oncologist was sitting at the edge of my bed, my hospital bed, and telling me, pretty sure you have cancer. I was in shock. So I didn't start crying immediately because I was just like, what did you say? My mom, my dad, my brother, they all were crying a mess. And I was just like, oh my God, how am I going to tell my friends? What is the next year going to look like for me? I'm going to lose my hair. I'm going to feel like crap because of the chemo. Just everything was running through my head, and it was just so overwhelming. So from there, they transferred me to their other location to where I could be treated, and I got to ride in an ambulance, which was kind of cool. So around, like, it was so late at this point, it was like 9 o'clock. We'd finally gotten to the other location, and I was getting settled in my room. We all went to sleep that night. Both of my parents stayed with me that night, and yeah, it was crazy. The next day, they wanted to go in and do a biopsy of the tumor and put in a PICC line. The first night that I stayed, they had me on all these heart monitors, and when I would turn over on my left side, the monitors would go off because my oxygen level would, like, I don't know, something, like the tumor was pressing on something that would, like, compromise my oxygen level when I laid on my left side, so I couldn't lay on that side. I had to lay on my right side, or else the machines would go off. So they knew that if they tried to put me to sleep during my biopsy, that it could compress some airways and cause complications, and it just would not be good. So they were like, we can't put you to sleep for this. You're going to be wide awake. So I was like, oh, okay, this is not going to be fun. So that was really scary. Basically, I went in there, had to lay down flat on this really uncomfortable table. They had taped me up on my legs and, like, on my stomach, and they had taped down my arms and stuff, so I was just basically laying there, and I couldn't move or anything because they had me taped up because they didn't want me to wiggle or whatever. So they put in the PICC line first. Oh, if you want to see it, I have a long sleeve shirt on, but I can show you. So I wear this sock on it to cover it up during the day so it doesn't get gross or whatever, but this is what it looks like. And basically this little tube this is how I get my chemo. And it goes all the way in, and then it goes into my heart. It goes in through my brachial vein, and then it goes into one of my major arteries or something. So they put this in first, and basically what she had to do was she had to put this big needle in my arm. And the only reason why I know that is because I looked over when she was doing it, and she was pulling out this long needle out of my arm, and I was like, oh my God. So she did that, and then she put the tube in, so it's not a needle that's in my arm, it's a tube. So that was done, and then she moved on to the biopsy. I actually have a tiny scar from it. It's like really small. I don't even know if you can see it. There. That's the scar. So basically for the biopsy, she had to take this, I don't even know what it was. It was just like this long stick with the super long needle. And she stuck it in there, and then there was a big click to get, like, the sample from inside. She pulled it out, and I just remember it hurt so bad. It just felt like a bunch of pressure, and that's what made it hurt so bad. So that was not fun. I didn't cry in there, but I remember getting back to the little waiting room, and my parents walked in, and I was like, that was really hard. And then I just started crying. The rest of the day I just rested, and then the next day had to get a spinal tab, wide awake as well. They gave me this pill for anxiety or something that was supposed to help calm me a little bit, but it still hurt. So basically a spinal tab is when they go in your lower back, and they take this needle and they stick it into your spine, and they basically take spinal fluid. It just felt similar to the biopsy. There was just a bunch of pressure, and it was really weird because it was just, he showed me it afterwards. It was just like clear liquid that comes out of your spine. I was like, that is so weird. So basically those were just a bunch of the tests that I had to get done. They did a bunch of blood work and stuff. They were basically just, they knew it was lymphoma. They were trying to figure out what kind, because there's two different kinds of lymphoma. There is diffused and there's primary mediastinal. Primary is less common, it's more rare, usually diffused. So we were hoping for diffused, but it ended up being primary, but it wasn't like too bad because they're both treated very similar. They also did a PET scan, and just the spinal tap was to see if it had spread into my spinal fluid, and thankfully it was only in my chest and it hadn't spread anywhere. We were really grateful for that because it would just been a whole other mess if it was in different places in my body. That's basically the beginning of all of it, the tests. That's just the most stressful time, is just figuring out what it is, and just first getting diagnosed. You're so overwhelmed and you're like, oh my god, what's my life gonna look like now? A couple days after that, we started the chemo. So basically I'm on the DA-EPOCH-R regimen, which is dose adjusted, etoposide, prednisone, vincristine, cyclophosphamide, doxorubicin, and rituximab. I had to look that up because they're fancy names and I just don't know how to pronounce all of them. It is a 5-day infusion, so about every 3 weeks I go into the hospital for 5 days, and then I go home. And I usually feel pretty bad the first 2 days, and then I start to feel better. So the first round, I was in the hospital for about 10 days just because they couldn't start the chemo right away. They had to get everything set up and figure out what exactly I had. I was in there for a pretty long time, and I was so happy when I was able to come home. In about 2 weeks, I think it was like 2 weeks on the dot, my hair started falling out, and that was the thing that I was dreading the most. And I think I want to do a separate video on hair loss and how it affects you and just your confidence. But basically around 2 weeks after my first round, my hair started falling out, and I ended up shaving it about a week later just because it got really annoying, and I would wake up in the morning and it was all over my pillow, and there was so much hair on the floor in my bathroom, and I was balding in my part. So I was just like, we just need to shave it off so it stops annoying me. And that was really hard. But now I got all these cute scarves to rock. So yeah, that's basically where I am right now. I am about to go in for my 3rd round, and I get scans on Thursday, so that's gonna be a really stressful day. And then I'll start round 3, and hopefully I'll be halfway done after that, and I'll only have 3 more rounds. So we're hoping for the best. I have stayed really strong, and because of my just support system from church and friends, like, I would not be able to be as strong as I have been without God and without my friends and without my family and all the prayers from church and from other people. It's just been crazy, and I feel like a lot of people, if they went through this, it would just be really easy for them to kind of lose their faith, but I just feel like mine has gotten so much stronger. And just, I've seen how God has just been watching over me these past few months and just letting me be in the places I need to be, meeting the people that I needed to meet to be able to go through this and still stay positive and stay strong. It's just been a roller coaster of emotions, but yeah, so that is my story on how I got diagnosed with cancer. If you're going through the same thing or something similar, feel free to reach out and I can help you out, because I know watching these videos has helped me a lot. I want to make more videos throughout this journey just to be able to go back and watch it for me, but again also to help other people. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you later. Bye!